Hello and welcome to the 12 Months to Marathon podcast with me, John Hill, the running podcast for the over 35s with Marathon Dreams, episode 69. I've got another couple of special guests for me today, all the way from South Africa. I've got Graeme and Daphne Smith. How are you two?
Good, thanks, John.
We are good. Thanks, John.
You're welcome. So let me just give it a background. So this is going to be an interesting story for those of you who know, you know. So Graeme and Daphne both have just done their first marathons at the age of 55 and 42. Graeme's 55, Daphne's 42. And I'll just preempt this by saying they've technically done two marathons because they were due to do the Cape Town Marathon. And if you know, you know. And if you don't know, Cape Town Marathon was cancelled at the very, 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 very last minute in the morning because of high winds and safety concerns. And Graeme and Daphne then went and did a marathon a week after, entered one and did it the week after. So there are some benefits of being able to enter a marathon at the last minute. I thought that's certainly one of them. I thought, yeah, that's a good one. So so the first thing I want to talk to you about or ask you is just one at a time, take turns. Talk to me about your running journeys, how we found ourselves here.
John, I'll start the ball rolling, John.
Okay.
I think for myself, I've never seen myself as a runner. I'm not that guy. I'm a big guy in terms of height, in terms of build, in terms of weight. So always been a sporty guy, but I played rugby and cricket and tennis and hockey and squash and golf and swimming. Running very, very, very low down on the priority list.
Yeah.
But I had a major bike accident when I was 18 and I was paralyzed for a while. As part of the rehab, I started to do some running then, which I really enjoyed, but it didn't last very long. And then when Daphs and I had our first kid, which is now more than 19 years ago, I started a bit of a running journey then and actually entered my first race, but got injured the week of the race. So that never happened. So I'd had a stop-start running journey is the best way I can describe it. But I always had this niggly idea in the back of my head about I wonder. And if I'm really honest, John, when we first contacted you, I contacted you because I wanted to once and for all shut that voice down in my head and say, I've done everything I can do. I've worked with a coach. I can't run a marathon. So my goal in contacting you was to prove to myself that I couldn't do this.
Okay. Interesting. I get it. I get that. Okay. Daphne?
I think for me, running has always been a very big part of my life. When I was younger, I had big dreams of going to the Olympics. I got headhunted when I was younger because I was a very fast sprinter. And I absolutely was obsessed with running. If I could run all day, every day, I would just be in my happy place. I got some injuries of my Achilles and my feet. It was just overtraining, too young.
Yeah.
And it's sort of fear came in of running, that as soon as I run, I'm going to get hurt. As soon as I run, it's not going to happen. And then I completely just stopped running until I turned 42. And I sort of said, I'm going to run a marathon in my 42nd year.
Yeah.
And just take on all those demons that came into my head, that I'm going to get injured, that I'm not going to do it, and just completely fell in love with running again.
How long was the gap? Sorry to interrupt. How long was the gap in that?
A very long gap. We're talking about from being a teenager till in my 40s again, yeah.
Okay.
But it's something I've always missed because I just absolutely loved running so much. If everyone just knew that I would become a runner, I would be running. And so, yeah, imposter syndrome was very big when I started this journey again.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you for that. So as I've known from speaking to you two and speaking to numerous other people, that South Africa's got a very big running culture. Particularly, there's one of the most famous runs in the world. If you haven't heard of the Comrades, then you need to check that out. I mean, I'd heard of the Comrades even before I properly got into running. I mean, when I first entered my very first marathon, someone mentioned that. So where did marathon come from? So running's one thing. Where did the I want to run 42K come from?
That's okay. For me, there is quite a long backstory. So when I had that motorbike accident when I was 18, I was paralyzed from the neck down.
Okay.
And there were some real fears at the time as to whether I'd actually ever walk again or not. No one really knew.
Okay.
So I was in hospital in intensive care, alone for about 8 weeks. And my mom, bless her soul, never got a driver's license because of her own fear issues, but she would walk to the hospital every single morning to come spend time with me,
Okay.
and then come in the evenings with my dad when he was done with work.
Hmm.
And one day she had arrived, and I was obviously napping at the time because I didn't know she was there. And when I woke up, I saw my mom sitting in the chair next to the bed. And here's this woman who's always happy, always positive, always got a smile, and she was sobbing. So I was taken a little bit aback, and I actually turned to her and said, "Mom, are you okay? What's wrong?" So she said, "No, Graeme, I just realized that you'll never run a marathon." Now, it's such a random statement for her to make, John, because I just didn't run. I played every other sport under the sun. So
Yeah.
I could imagine her saying, "Oh, you're never going to make it as a professional cricketer, or you're never going to," but she said, "You're never going to run a marathon." And I guess when you get a bit older in life and you get a bit sentimental, and my mom passed away many years ago. She must have passed away 20 years ago, whatever it is. But it's something that comes up. And I think as I was getting a bit older and my fitness wasn't quite what it was, and you get to that stage where you get out of breath when you fastening and unfastening your shoelaces, I kind of dawned on me, shit, maybe she was right.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
And is this it? Is it like a downhill trajectory for me on the fitness journey of my life from this moment on? Or is there still more than I can do? And it was actually then that I decided, no, actually, I want to honor her and to prove to myself what I can do. I'm going to run a marathon.
And how long ago was that when that sort of epiphany hit?
3 years ago,
Yeah.
roughly.
Because if you don't mind talking about this, obviously you've been through a little bit of weight loss, well, a little bit of a weight loss journey, haven't you?
Yeah. It coincides.
Yeah.
But the weight loss has been secondary, but yeah, 37 Ks.
Wow, 37 kg. Wow. That's about 80 pounds for the people who use pounds. So that's about 80 pounds roughly. Yeah, it's 37 kg, roughly about 80 pounds, which is a lot. And for those guys in the UK, that's probably pushing 6 stone. Because I know I lost 5 and that was 70 pounds or something. So yeah, that's impressive, 37 kg. Okay, so that happened 3 years ago. And how did you approach running from that point? So you started, obviously started on your health journey overall, Graeme. How did you then sort of factor running into that?
So what we did is we stay on a very big property, actually like a small holding.
Right.
Best way to describe it. It's almost like a little farm, for lack of a better word.
Hmm.
So Daphne and I wanted to we had exercised regularly pre-COVID. We did a lot of CrossFit and those kind of things and really enjoyed it. And post-COVID, we really struggled to get back into regular exercise. So we've got a fairly long driveway. And we made a commitment to each other. It would have been the 1st of September 3 years ago that for the month of September, we're going to run 1 kilometer a day, every day in our driveway, just to get back into regular exercise. And I think we managed
about 25 days. Yeah.
But that's where it started.
Okay. And Daphne, yourself?
I think for me, it's when I turned 42, it was a big thing for me to run 42 kilometers.
Is there relevance to the 42, or is it just because 42 is linked to 42 kilometers? Just
100%.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's up. Yeah, fine. Yeah. Okay.
I think when we started the 1 kilometer a day, it felt so overwhelming to not even be able to do a kilometer without walking.
Yeah.
And I think that was so overwhelming. And when we started dreaming about could we run a marathon, we were like, can we do 5 kilometers? Can we do 10 kilometers? And when we started ticking those off and did our first half marathon, we were like, is it even possible that we could maybe do this thing and do an actual marathon and do the training? And I think it was just that challenge of, in a busy life, being a parent, life, we're not professional athletes that can just run all day. You have to squeeze it in everywhere. Can we actually do this thing? And it was just so amazing to go. I mean, it's been a life-changing process going through training for a marathon.
Yeah.
I don't think I will ever be the same after it.
And what's key, John, is when I started the marathon journey 3 years ago, Daphne kept a barn-sized back door for herself. So she was going to support me on this journey. She was going to second me on my running. And that wasn't really her goal. This was what she was telling me.
Yeah. Okay.
But about a year ago, she also, like, that switch happened and said, no, we're doing this together.
Okay. Okay. So what point did you say, right, we're going to enter one? When did that happen? When was that?
I think Daphne was having a nap on the couch and I was bored, so I entered one. It was one of those.
Yeah.
And we actually, so a year ago,
Yeah.
just more than a year ago, July last year, we actually entered a trail off-road marathon.
Mm-hmm.
But didn't train at all.
We really didn't train at all. We thought we had, but compared to what we've just been through, we did 10% of that.
Yeah.
It was a lot. We had no cooking clue what we were doing, John.
Yeah.
No nutrition at all, like nothing.
Yeah.
We rocked up at this event feeling like an imposter. I looked for the guy that looked the most like me there in terms of age and size and whatever. I thought, at least I can find a buddy. And this guy was very, very German. And I said, asked him, are you ready for the race? And he said, yeah. And I said, this is my first marathon. He looked at me with his big eyes. He says, the route, this one. Are you sure? And I said to him, well, how many have you run? He said, this is number 278. Yeah. So I made it to 26 kilometers.
Yeah.
I was accompanied by a car and trackers and the entire cleanup crew riding behind me.
Okay, so right at the back.
Yeah, I was very last. And then I missed the cutoff point for time at 25 Ks.
Okay, right. Okay. So when you went back to the well, talk to me firstly about, I guess, because when we first met, talk to me about your experiences in the training cycle.
So I think what was very different, John, and honestly, I did contact you because I wanted to prove to myself that I couldn't do this. I wanted to get rid of that buzzing bee.
What were you looking for, Graeme? Because you never, obviously, of course, you didn't mention that, which I wouldn't expect you to. It's not exactly a good opening gambit, is it? But what were you looking for to sort of validate your disbelief of yourself, if that makes sense, if that's the right word?
So you see, with the first marathon, the plan we followed was a generic thing that I downloaded off the internet.
Yeah.
We went to run a race that's in the mountains in the north of South Africa with incredibly high elevation and terrible altitude, which we weren't used to. It was a week after the Comrades Marathon.
Okay.
So none of the shops around had any nutrition available. So everything we were used to, we couldn't get hold of. So in short, it was a disaster trip.
Okay.
And we failed abysmally. In fact, Daphne probably didn't run for 6 months after that. That's how down she was.
Oh, okay.
I kept running a little bit, but we were given up on this marathon dream. Like, that was stupid. But it kind of bugged me in the back of my head. And your content started popping up on social media and on Instagram. And quite frankly, I really liked what you had to say, John, and how simple you seem to keep things. And you made me begin to think that, well, actually, maybe I can still. And maybe it's not impossible. And I genuinely did contact you because I thought, if I can say we've hired a coach, we followed a plan that he's given us, we've taken all of his advice, and at the end of that cycle, we still couldn't do it, we can now move on to the next goal.
Yeah.
So
what was the turning point then when it became clear that you could do it?
Well, there was another couple. So we joined your group literally when you had another big group of people that were a month out.
They were just finishing up, weren't they, for the spring marathons here? Yeah. They were just a lot of them were just finishing up. Yeah.
And for me, I'm a big guy, and 55, and that's why I can't run a marathon. And then I see a couple, and you've got a guy who's in
62, Peter. Yeah, no, 62.
62, and he's talking about running his first marathon. I think, oh, shut up, stop it, don't.
Yeah.
But what it was, John, is when we spoke to you about our goals and what we wanted to do, you said, yeah, we'll do that. And you kept it simple, and you said, well, I'm going to give you a plan, and your job is to do the plan and do it first, and then we'll talk about it. And it's so annoyingly simple, but it's right, you know?
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
go
Well, I was
to
going to say.
analysis paralysis, and let's analyze the plan before we start. And your approach was, no, do it, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
And I believed you.
Well, yeah, good. Thankfully. Yeah. No, well, I mean, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I think it's obviously I think whilst it's my thing's always the same. I've read a lot. Everybody's different, but everybody's still got to run 26.2 or 42K. So whether you're top of the shop, elites, finishing first, whether you're at the back with the sweepers, everyone's got to run the same distance. So whilst the training plan can be adaptable and can be different, I think that everybody's got to do the work eventually. So we might as well get you on the work as soon as we possibly can. So talk to me about the training then, guys. What were your experiences from that? How is it different to what you've done in the past? Yeah.
So I think for me, during the training block, I did have 2 really bad injuries.
Yeah.
I had a very bad calf tear that
Yeah.
took quite a long time to rehab, but I try to stick to the training as much as possible by doing cross training. And then I think it was about 4 or 5 weeks out from Cape Town, I had a really bad knee injury, which just came out of nowhere, and really started stressing about that. Did some physio, cross training, and literally 2 weeks before the marathon, no pain at all. It was completely healed.
Yeah.
We were shocked when I got to the start line, the fake start line, that we were like both with no pain, no injuries, nothing. It could not have gone better. I think it was such a textbook. We had rested well. Everything was just amazing.
Yeah.
But the training is hard. You have to be committed, and you have to move things around, and you have to prioritize it. And there was a couple of sacrifices that had to be made with, no, I can't go play paddle with you this weekend. I need to train, and those things. And a lot of our friends didn't quite understand what we were doing and why we were doing it. But I think after the marathon, and then when they celebrated with us, they knew what we went through, and they knew the sacrifices was needed.
Yeah.
But it's not easy, but it's like Graeme said, you just have to do it. And if you do it, you will complete a marathon.
Good. So we get to Cape Town. If you know, you know. We've talked about if you know, you know. It's cancelled at the very, very last minute. So talk to me about how, for you, some people might think it's an obvious question, but how did that feel for you?
Like a gut punch that you've never felt before in your life.
Is it one of those things that you perhaps didn't believe at first? You thought,
100%.
yeah.
We thought their social media platform had been hacked.
Okay. Yeah. So, sorry, it's a funny story because it was quite early here in the UK, and I was obviously awake because I get up there, and I saw a message from Daphne, and all I saw was that, you know, when you get just the intro bit, and it said there's a marathon next week in Durban. We're thinking of entry, and I was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? You're already just doing it?" Obviously, didn't know because I hadn't at that point. I just turned because I don't turn my phone on straight away in the mornings, so I just seen it flat. I just seen like the preview flash up, and I thought you were already talking about doing another one a week later, and I was like, we've created a monster here. And then obviously I caught up with everything. So anyway, sorry, carry on. I thought I'd share that with you because that was quite funny. I was like, what's going on? Yeah, I thought you were just going straight in again. Yeah.
But what was so hard, John, is I'm by nature a very easygoing, laid-back person, but we were all in on this. We did a 12-week half marathon plan straight into a marathon plan, right?
Mhm.
I missed one run on the 12-week half marathon plan, and one run on the 16-week marathon plan. I got a back spasm. So a 12-kilometer tempo run became an 8-kilometer easy run. That was the only deviations I did. That's how committed I was.
Yeah.
We dialed in our nutrition. We booked the best accommodation in the perfect spot across the road from the stadium. I don't sleep well when I travel normally. I had the best night's sleep of my night. My sleep score was through the roof. I saw training readiness numbers on my watch that I'd never seen before in my life.
Yeah.
And then we get told, no, you can't run.
Yeah.
It was, I really can't explain that first 2-3 hours. I mean,
I did cry.
a lot.
Very kick session. You were just in disbelief, and because of where we were staying, there was about 22,000 runners on our doorstep running around looking confused. And I think that just added to what is going on. So you feel so ready to go run. You've worked so hard. This is finally the end of 16 weeks of literal blood, sweat, and tears. And you are being told, no, you can't do it.
Yeah. 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 I can imagine. I can imagine. So, how did we get from that disappointment to dusting yourself off quite quickly and saying, no, we're gonna. Did you know about Sapphire Coast? Is that right? Did you know about Sapphire? Okay. So you didn't know that. So how did we get to dusting yourself off to, right, let's see what we've got in the.
So a lot of people still ran, but unsupervised, no police, no barriers. A lot of people ran. I'd say about 4,000 or 5,000 people ran.
Would you like the route, the actual?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I think if we had been dressed in our running kit on the start line with everyone else, we might have joined them.
Yeah.
But we stayed literally, it was 400 meters from the start. So we were on our balcony eating breakfast in our pajamas. Like, we weren't changed into our running gear. So we didn't see that as an option. But what do we do? So you start to think, I've been through this whole training cycle. I don't want to start another training cycle from scratch, because we had even done 2 back to back. So when is the next marathon that we can possibly look at entering? And let's see what's available. I didn't even think I verbalized that to Daphne. So I just Googled and went and had a look. And then I saw that there was going to be a marathon just south of Durban. It's a 45-minute drive from where we live, the following weekend. And I quickly went in to see if entries were still open or if they weren't. And then I went to Das. I said, Das, well, here are our options. There are some races we had looked at in 2026, and we can take a break now and do another training cycle for that. Or do we just repeat the last week of our last taper that we did and go for it again next weekend? And we didn't take long to decide. Let's just do it.
We actually booked it on the same day
Yeah.
of finding out we couldn't run. We just did it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Very, very good. Very good. That's a good example to just not let things, beat you and just go for it, because it's obviously very a crushing disappointment, of course, for everybody. But to do that is good. So that was a week later.
Yeah.
So talk to me about your actual marathon experience then.
Well, initial shock and horror, because we had trained and entered Cape Town because it's
everything about Cape Town.
Because it's fast and flat.
Of course, yeah.
The race we ran, they describe its route profile as the teeth of a ragged-tooth shark.
Okay.
Right.
Call it, the polite way is undulating. That's always a risky one when yeah.
Yeah, beyond. So there was an elevation gain of over 600 meters.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ouch. Yeah.
So our actual experience couldn't be any more different. So it was 24,000 athletes down to, I think there was 650 that ran this.
Oh, is that all? Right. Okay. Yeah.
It's organized by a small little local
Athletics club.
athletics club. Awesome people, lovely people, as friendly as you can get. But I mean,
Yeah.
you couldn't get a more different scale. So I think they had in total about 2,000 runners combined for the 10K, 20, the half marathon and the marathon, and you all start and leave at the same time.
Okay. Yeah.
And you start by running a 3 or 4 kilometer hill. So I'd say the biggest difference for us is we had some goals for Cape Town Marathon and times we wanted to achieve and go after. But when we realized how different this marathon was going to be, we wanted to finish a marathon and we wanted to enjoy the experience so that we wanted to do it again. So
Yeah.
the focus shifted
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add there?
Yeah, I think we had no idea about the route. Where Cape Town, we literally knew every kilometer off by heart. We knew where everything was going to be. Where this one was really just going in blind, just going for the experience, getting it done. And I'm glad we did, because I think if we actually knew what the route looked like, we probably would not have done it. And we were told by a couple of seasoned marathon runners, like, you never do that for your first marathon. They're like, you don't do it.
Yeah.
So it was very different. I think even on the morning of, we had to leave like 3:00 in the morning, and Graeme left some things at home, so we had to turn around. We were so disorganized. It was just a very different experience that we had at Cape Town.
Yeah. But you did it.
Did it.
And what were your times? Yeah.
So I had the privilege, John, in marathons, you get people that come first,
Yeah.
and then you get people that finish last.
Yeah.
And I have the joy of being the last marathon runner.
Were you last? Really?
I was lost. And just like Graeme, I had the lovely escort of an ambulance, a marshal, the traffic police were behind me. It was actually spectacular. And my Isa Hudson football died.
I know some people do that deliberately. Some people finish last in the big majors. I'm telling you, they do it deliberately to get on the telly. I'm telling you, I've seen it. I look at people sometimes finish, and I'm like, there's no way you could finish. But then I swear they do it deliberately to get on the telly.
Yeah. So John, for myself, I wanted to run sub 5 hours to get a comrades qualifier and all
Yeah,
of that.
yeah.
And on this route, I thought, let me just see how it goes. And I got to about 27, 28 Ks and I was on pace. And I knew there was a massive hill coming up at about 35 kilometers. But at 27 kilometers, we ran down that hill. And I realized what it was that we then had to run back up.
Oh, yeah,
how
it's
long
going
it
back.
was.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
And so it's about 3 or 4 kilometers, and it's got a gradient of over 7 degrees. It's a beast.
Right.
And I was just managing the time then. So at about 27 Ks, I looked at this and said, are you really going to go for it? Or aren't you? And I thought, if I'm honest and I go for it with this hill, I might do some damage to myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and still not quite make it, because this is going to be cutting it fine given the route. So at about 27 Ks, I decided, nah, I'm just going to enjoy it, and I'm going to take it really, really easy. And that's what I did. So I came in at just around 5.5 hours in the end, but loved the experience. But John, my highlights and honesty by a million miles is it was great finishing and great getting the medal. But because we had done the journey together, like I didn't enjoy it for a second, because my mind went to how is Daph's coping.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the guys start packing up some of the equipment and the barriers, and I'm waiting there and I'm trying to see where Daphne is. And now my mind's going through all these possibilities, like, is she lost? Does she know? All sorts. So then from the finishing line, you can look down the road and you can see about 1 kilometer down the road, roughly. But I suddenly see Daphne come around the corner, but she's got the biggest smile on her face that you can imagine.
Yeah.
And there's an ambulance behind her. There's police on motorbikes. She's got this whole fan club, and she's crying and she's in tears. And that for me, she still had a kilometer to go to get to the finishing line and all of that. But seeing her come around the corner, and the first thought was, oh shit, I wonder what state she's going to be in now. I have to deal with.
Yeah.
And is she going to be okay? And then seeing her, not only is she okay, she's a freaking VIP with this whole entourage.
Yeah.
Going. That was just, I'll never forget that smell.
I think it was amazing. At about 35 kilometers, I knew that I was lost, and I knew that it is so terrible. These people have been following me now for a while. Every time I stop at a drinks table, everyone will ask me if I'm done, if I'm going to stop. And then I'm like, I'm not stopping, I'm carrying on. And then every time I stop, the ambulance will be like, do you want to get in? I'm like, no, I'm not getting in. Leave me alone.
Mate.
And it's like at 35 kilometers, I was like, oh, maybe I should just give up. This is really hard now. But then, like Graeme said with me, I was like, I can't do this to Graeme. Like, I actually can't ruin his day. And if I don't finish, then I'm going to be sulking the whole day about how hard it is, and I'm going to take away from him actually completing his first marathon.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I actually can't do it to him. Like, it would just be so wrong for me to do that to someone, to just rob them of the joy of experiencing their first marathon. And so I'm like, I don't care if these guys follow me for the next 5-6 kilometers. I am going to finish this race that I started. I'm going to finish what I started 16 weeks ago, through all the pain, through everything.
Yeah.
I did not come through Cape Town and to this just to stop at 35 kilometers. And I made the decision. I don't even care if I don't get a medal, because I shouldn't have gotten a medal. I shouldn't have. And when I got to the end, everything is gone, John. They've packed up everything. There's just a couple of people. The one guy looked up at me. He's like, were you the last runner? And I'm like, I'm the last runner. And he's like, you need a medal. And he puts a medal on me. And I just started crying, because I'm like, I don't even deserve this medal. And he's like, you ran a marathon. You deserve the medal.
You absolutely do. You absolutely do. Probably more than most, if I'm really honest, because I think that takes real grit. That does, because there's a lot going on there, not just physically. There's a lot going on there when you've got the people behind you. There's a lot going on there, I can imagine. So yeah, that's as important a medal as any of them. Absolutely 100%. Absolutely 100%. So, what would you say to anybody who is 40 plus and 50 plus, who is maybe in a similar place to yourselves, maybe has got that itch, who got something inside them saying, I want to do something like this, but they're a little bit obviously hesitant because the usual sort of negative program around age, situation, all that sort of jazz. What would you say to them?
Do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
You can. It's incredibly doable. And I think, John, kudos to you on your training and your plan. I think you use the term, it's not easy, but it's simple. And that's what it is. It's freaking hard, but it's uncomplicated. Just do it. So I would honestly say to anyone that's got an inkling or an itch, go for it. You can do it.
I would say it is honestly never too late. Like, age honestly is just a number. Yes, you take things in consideration. You are not 20 anymore, and I had to deal with that. But it's not too late. The version of yourself, the age you're at now, can do it. You are still capable of doing great things, no matter how old you are. You just need to apply yourself, put your mind to it, get up in the morning, and just believe in yourself. I think it's just knowing that honestly, age is just a number.
Yeah.
There's so much more you can do. I mean, we already got our next marathon booked and planned for John.
Yeah,
So it's not the end. It's not for us. It's not just like do one and it's over. And it definitely ignited something in us. It taught us we are so much more capable than what we thought. And that while we can still run, we're going to run.
Yeah, and I think, John, our lives couldn't be busier than they are right now. I think in terms of our age and life station, this is as busy as life's ever going to be. In terms of my working hours and responsibilities I'm dealing with, we've got 3 kids, 1 at college, 2 still at home. We've got we've got how many dogs? 3 dogs. We've got other things we involved in that require time outside of work. Daphne's got her own business, and I'm 55 and she's 42. Like every excuse you want in the book,
Yeah.
we've got. But none of them matter if you really want to go after it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So a couple of more questions. My first question, which you sort of touched on slightly there, but I'll ask it as I always do. It's my philosophical question that I ask everybody. How has it changed you?
Sure, so much, John. Honestly, I'm not the same person I was before this journey started. I realized that I still had such a big ego, and surprise, that I had such a big ego, and just how that prevented me from doing so much in my life,
Mm.
and how I had to not only deal with coming last in a marathon, and actually how that didn't phase me in the end, just showed how much I grew in this journey.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning, if I had to do it and come last, I would be so embarrassed to tell people that. I would be so ashamed, where I couldn't be more proud of myself for doing what I did. And I've been telling the whole world. I told my pharmacist that I came last and I ran a marathon, and it's just, I'm telling everyone, because the Daphne that started this journey would have been so ashamed of it. And there was so much healing that took place in these 16 weeks. It's not just running. It's everything that comes with it. You do learn things about yourself that you will never learn unless you do this journey.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and for myself, John, sticking to that plan. So it was actually 28 weeks in total, if you
Yeah.
think about that. I've never committed to any kind of plan that looks anything remotely like that at any stage in my life. So the fact that I could do that was absolutely incredible, and not just that I could do it, that I actually flourished in doing it.
Mm.
And then the biggest revelation for me is how much BS goes on in my own internal dialogue. Wow.
Mm.
The amount of rubbish and lies that I speak to myself and excuses I try and give myself for not doing things shocked me.
Yeah.
But and I'm 55, and I'm still on an upward trajectory. That curve in the bell is a long way away.
Mm.
And that certainly changed for me from wondering if this is as good as it gets to I wonder how much this body can still do. So it's a complete 180-degree change. You can't be the same again.
Fantastic. Thank you. And final question for me. You briefly touched on it, and I'm sure I know the answer already. So what's next for you two?
So we do have a marathon in March that we have booked.
Which one's that one?
This is a Dolphin Coast one.
Right.
So it's a lot bigger. It's about 5,000, which is nice. So it's not 700, and it's a lovely one. It's actually one of the bigger ones in Durban. And then we do have Cape Town booked in 27, and then we are doing an ultra next year as well.
Distance on the ultra. How far is the ultra?
30 miles.
Yeah.
30 miles. Okay.
Yeah. So in short, we're taking it easy for a month. We start running again properly with some structure from this weekend, because we've got a local trail half marathon coming up in a month.
Yep.
But we're doing that for the fun. And as some people say with trail running, it's a buffet to buffet with some running in between. We're treating it very much like that.
Yeah.
But we'll take a week off after that. Then we'll do a proper 12-week program, because we want to go for it in the Dolphin Coast Marathon. Beautiful route, nice elevation. We can really have some fun there. And then, as Daph said, 2 months off after that. Then in September, we're doing the 30-miler. And today, so with the Cape Town cancellation, the sponsors allowed everyone who had entered the option of getting a free entry either next year or in 2027 next year's in May, and with our schedules and whatever, it just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
We've entered 2027.
Good.
And hopefully comrades very soon.
Well, that was you could probably see my cogs working. I was going to ask about the comrades qualifier. Yeah, so
Yeah, I mean, we were thinking about it this year, but for first time in history, comrades sold out in 10 hours yesterday.
wow.
Yeah. So that option's gone.
That's not an option for next year. But hopefully 2027 we will do our first comrade.
2027 or 2028 definitely will enter.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Anything else from you two?
No?
Just thank you so much, John. It's, I know this is what you do, and you work with a lot of people, but we wouldn't have finished this without you, actually, and really do appreciate that. And our lives are changed, and you're a very big part of that puzzle piece. So just thank you so much.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
And thank you for keeping it simple and real and true. I think that's what we value so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Well, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So, it's I appreciate that, and thank you for being so. I guess the word I always used to use is coachable. And if you're willing to be coachable, then and you're willing to just give something a go and ask questions, then you will always be successful in running. I believe if you're willing just to be a little bit open, a little bit coachable, and then a little bit curious, which you were, then you deserve the accolades you've got so far and the ones to come.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
John.
So thanks everybody for listening. That's a very, very inspiring interview. Hopefully that's going to spur a few people on potentially to go out and explore and be curious like Graeme and Daphne were. So hopefully that will do that. So don't forget, if you're brand new to listen to the podcast, please do subscribe. I do appreciate that. And as always, if you want to drop me a review on Spotify or Apple, that really helps me, particularly the star reviews on Spotify. Please share this podcast with anybody that you feel it may help, or with your friends. That's also appreciated. If, of course, you want your daily free content and tips, you can follow me over at Instagram at 12 Months to Marathon. And if you want to join my free running community for the over 35s, you can do. All you need to do, head over to Instagram at 12 Months to Marathon, click the link in my bio, and I will let you into my brand new free running community over there, which will take us away from social media, take us away from the noise, and we can share all of our experiences there. So I'd like to say, thank you again to Graeme and Daphne, and thank you to everybody for listening, and I will speak to you all very soon indeed.